Huh. Alright. What's up, everybody? It's waba. Wow, I just coughed. Alright. So, done a couple videos today, and I wanted to make a video about this build as well. So I did Shockwave Totem, with kind of touching on Frostbolt Totem. I've also done Caustic Arrow. I'm thinking, I don't know which one I'm going to do at the start of the league. Shockwave Totem and Frostbolt will clearly be probably really good league starters because they're going to perform well enough to, progress through content. Caustic Arrow would just be more difficult to pull off just because it's leveling as Caustic Arrow is a little rough. But this build is a CI Lightning Trap build with the Saboteur Ascendancy. Now, I have played a Saboteur Lightning Trap build before. I did play it a long time ago. I can't remember what league it was in, but I did it with a Voltaxic, and I did like a Poison Lightning Trapper build. And honestly, it played really, really well, and I had a lot of fun with the build. And I don't necessarily remember why I didn't go like just regular lightning. I think it was just for the poison aspect of it, but even the poison aspect of it wasn't really that good for the build. So frankly, the damage, things weren't dying because of the poison. They were just dying because I did plenty of damage. But the build played pretty well. And so, I've always kind of thought about playing it again in some form. And, after thinking about it and wanting to play it, this is what I have come up with so far. I've also seen other people do CI Lightning Trap builds. I believe I've seen Rise do it. And, well, actually, that's the only person that I've actually seen do it in the past few months. I'm sure other people have done it because parallel thinking is definitely a big thing in Path of Exile. But let's go over the changes to Saboteur. So Saboteur got a little bit more trap cooldown recovery, 10% more trap cooldown recovery, and then everything else is pretty much the same, except they added Pyromaniac. Pyromaniac is really, really good. Gives you immunity to shock and ignite, which is pretty good. But more importantly, it gives you 1% of life regen per second for each mine or trap you've detonated recently. And 25% reduced mana cost of skills that are traps or mines is actually a pretty big deal too. But it actually currently doesn't work right now if you look at my mana cost. It doesn't work right now in Path of Building, but it will work. This is a pretty big deal because, kind of like with Hierophant, the only thing that felt really bad on most totem builds is the fact that you don't have leech and you don't have high amounts of sustain, so you don't have a lot of regen. So being able to get regen through other methods, through other ways is really, really good. So this right here, whenever you're throwing out a trap, you're throwing out cluster trap, you're throwing it out a couple times, you're probably going to be sitting somewhere between 12 and 15% life regen per second based off of this. And this is pretty good. So this gives you a lot of sustain and should feel really nice when you're playing. Born in the Shadows, this got changed a little bit. This essentially, they took both of the nodes that it was before, which I did take, and they combined them into one. 10% reduced damage taken from blinded enemies. Nearby enemies are blinded. That's really, really big. And then 30% increased damage with hits and ailments against blinded enemies, and a 25% chance to blind enemies on hit. So you're going to be blinding a lot of enemies just with your traps in general. And then on top of that, every mob that is near you is just going to be blinded. So this is actually a pretty big deal and pretty good defensively. Overall, I think Saboteur, it's a lot of quality of life for traps, and it gives you a lot of sustain and a nice little defensive niche. So, niche, whatever, however you say that. It's like niche. Anyway, so this is the passive tree. Nice thing about trap making like a trap build is that it will be very, very easy to level. You're just going to come right through here. You're going to grab this life at first, grab Saboteur, come up, boom, hasty reconstruction, come back down here, grab high explosives and clever construction. With lightning trap, you should pick up piercing shots pretty soon. That will definitely help you while mapping. You could probably just grab those first 3 for for leveling, and then when you get to maps, you could probably pick up the next one. It is important to note that the Helm enchant for lightning trap does give you piercing. So if you do actually get that Helm enchant, which you probably should be looking for one, you could drop all these points and you could put it into things like crackling speed over here, or other parts of the tree. Anyway, so yeah, it's pretty normal. You'd come through here, grab Blast Cascade, get more spell crit, come down here. You probably grab this life, come over here, grab Cruel Preparation, and get to Arcane Potency. And pretty much at that point, you would probably be pretty good. And then whenever you're ready to transition to CI, you're going to just take out all those points. And the nice thing is those life points are more or less on the way for you. So you'll need like 3 here. So you got 3, 6. You get life right here and right here. So those are good for leveling. And then they serve the purpose in the end game too. So you got 6 refund points. Another, let's just say you take all 3, 9, 12. You can even come down here and grab Quick Recovery. And that puts you at 17 refund points, which, you should be able to do because you get, I believe, 21 or 22 just from leveling and doing all your quests. So this build should go pretty well, and it should play very, very well. I don't know about its power relative to higher tier content. I don't know how it'll handle like elders or what, red tier elder or yellow tier elder. I'm sure it'll do yellow tier elder just fine. I was able to kill Bestiary when I had this build a long time ago, with not really too many issues. It's, while the build is kind of different, it's more or less the same. It's just going to be tankier now, I think. So yeah. Let's see, what should we look at? Oh, skills. You can also go with your bandits are going to be a Lyra. You're going to go crit multi, mana regen, resist. All really, really good for you. Lightning trap, right here, I have it as a level 20. Now, the thing that does suck about lightning trap is that whenever you're playing a skill where you want +1, but it's also a Vow skill, it feels really, really bad when you do get a level 20 Vow lightning trap. The quality on lightning trap is actually just throwing speed, so that's kind of up to you if you want it. It's a gem that I would buy 10 to 15 quality ones and not even bother, and once they get 20 I just corrupt them, going for that 21. So yeah, lightning trap, cluster trap, trap in mine, control destruction, increase critical strikes, and lightning penetration. If you ever do find yourself in a situation where you can get an Elder chest piece, you can get that 6 linked, you could probably drop increased critical strikes for increased critical damage. So, pretty good. For the auras, you're going to be running Discipline and Wrath, pretty normal for CI builds. And then, you're just going to have an elemental weakness. You can use conductivity as well, but overall, this should be pretty easy. You can also get an Arcane Surge if you want. Actually, I don't even know why I didn't put the stuff in here. But you're going to have to maintain that with a Orb of Storms. But that shouldn't be too hard. It's just going to give you more spell damage. And then for your Golem, I think I would actually say an Ice Golem would probably be your best bet here. And then you're just going to have a cast of damage taken set up. Nothing really abnormal. But honestly, at this point, the build should be pretty you could figure things out, what you want to do yourself. you can use a Val skill. I would actually recommend like either a Val Grace or a Val Clarity. Only problem with Val Clarity is with the Val Clarity you would not be able to maintain Arcane Surge, so Val Grace is probably the best way to go. Fantastic. Or even a Val Summon Skeleton. That would be good for hairier situations. So this is going to be your gear, pretty normal. Kind of like what I said with the Cultist Caustic Arrow build. Sintrek are just really incredible boots that you can get on a budget. They have a lot of energy shield on them and 30% movement speed. Pretty good. The one thing that does suck, with all the changes to all the Ascendancies and everyone getting stun immunity one way or another, Saboteur still does not have stun immunity. So this means you do have to use an Eye of Kyula. Not too big of a deal. It's fine. It's not really that big of a deal. You can use jewel sockets, or not jewel sockets, Abyss Jewels in this. Abyss Jewels will probably give you considerably more ES, because your ES percentage is actually already pretty high. Let's see something real quick. So yeah, just any Abyss Jewel would actually work, especially if you had like a high item level Abyss Jewel with 40 ES on it. Would be pretty good for you. You're probably going to want to run with at least one Energy from Within, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if Abyss Jewels do beat that at a certain point. Or if you have enough ES, you could easily just drop this and throw an Abyss Jewel with damage on there, which would probably be perfectly fine. Opal Rings, I didn't put any damage on like any of this stuff, and I didn't do that for the specific reason. So I just imported everything kind of bare minimum, so everything in here is accessible. There's not even damage on the shield. This is a life ES helm. Obviously you're not going to want life. This is kind of a low ES chest piece. Opal rings just with energy shield on it, so you could definitely essence craft yourself some rings. You can get diamond rings, you could put crit multi on them, you could put lightning damage. You could do whatever you want with it. I would probably suggest trying to get some mana on your gear, because mana cost for traps is a big deal, but that's also exactly why the Ascendancy, given 25% reduced mana cost, is a pretty big deal. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. This build is really tempting for me to play. A Diamond Flask, probably going to want to use a Wise Oak, and then you can kind of do whatever you want with the other flasks. I might be forgetting one. I'm not sure. I wasn't actually expecting to do this today until I figured out what the hell was wrong with all my setup. So yeah, this is something that like I said, I'm really thinking about doing, because Lightning Trap plays incredibly well, and it's really nice to take a build from leveling right into maps. And you could start using Lightning Trap at level 12 and pretty much level with it very, very easily. Your damage should be pretty good. You might need to get a couple boss kills, but overall, it's very, very good for leveling. And if the first build that I actually played in Path of Exile that I really wanted to play, not because there's my two first builds in Path of Exile. It's a little story time, I'm sorry, but my first build was a build I was like, okay, this game's hard, I need to figure out what to do, what's a good build. And I got directed to this long time ago, Ziggy D's EK Mind Over Matter build. A long time ago, the Scion, which, Ziggy, by chance you watch this, I hope everything's going good for you, man. I appreciate you, and I understand. Anyway, that was the first build I ever played. The real build that I really wanted to play, though, once I got a hang of it, was a Fire Trap build, kind of inspired by Pox. And so trapping has always been like one of my favorite things. So Saboteur, while I wish the Ascendancy got a little bit more of a buff, I still think it's pretty good. And, I'm definitely thinking about playing this. And, playing a trap build with pretty decent damage, you're probably going to be able to get, I don't know, you're going to get more damage than this. But this is just kind of the bare bones. I'm not even really worried about the the hits or the DPS on Path of Building. I don't think you should either. If you're looking for a good League starter and you've never really played a trap build, try a lightning trap build out. Use this as a template. The Path of Building will be in the description down below. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. And yeah, check me out on my stream, twitch.tv/wabachaw. Maybe I'll stream. I want to, but unfortunately, I need a new graphics card, so I have a 760. My stream looks like garbage, and it plays like garbage when I stream. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.